we just talk about money for a moment here on the South African Morning. Northwest Province says it's untrue that it's about to give 17 billion rand back to the National Treasury. Sunday newspapers reporting that the province has not spent this chunk of its budget. But the provincial treasury says it's misleading, that it has spent more than 47 billion rand of the 48.7 billion rand that it was allocated. Let's try and find out what's happened here then. Head of the Northwest Treasury, Mr. Ndlela Kunene. Mr. Kunene, good morning to you. So you are arguing and you are not agreeing with what the Sunday papers had to say. So you did spend the money or you didn't spend the money in your budget? Good morning.
Good morning and good morning to your viewers, and thank you very much for the opportunity. I just need to put it on record that we as the province, in terms of the adjusted budget, the allocation is 48.7 billion rand. And for the period ending March 2022, an amount of 47.2 billion rand was spent, which is provisionally, and we are indicating as per the report that that constitutes 96.84% of our adjusted budget, and it is therefore not possible that in terms of the numbers that you would come to a conclusion that there would be a money obviously sent to national or provincial treasury to the amount of 17 billion, because the numbers do indicate that of the 48 billion, about 47.2 billion has already been spent as at end of March 2022. I also need to just clarify that this remains provisionally because it's subject to audit, and there are also processes of rollovers and accruals which would obviously be finalized post the audit process. Thank you very much.
Do you care to weigh in on where perhaps some of the Sunday newspapers were reporting on this? Where would the suggestion have come from, Mr. Kunene, that the money wasn't spent? Why do you think this was being reported?
I wouldn't know. But what I mean, if you look at the first paragraph of the report, the report of City Press, it makes reference to the budget of 58 billion. As the province, I think it would have been good to have that budget. We're actually looking for a situation where we have a budget. And factually, I mean, that is also incorrect. What I also learned as per the report is that they would have used the previous reports that would have been submitted to the legislature. But there are two things. When we submit an expenditure report, as part of our early warning system, we do two things at a particular point. One is that we put indication as to how much we have spent at a particular period. We also provide information of the projected expenditure that would be carried for in terms of the months. For example, if we report for the period ending December, we would indicate actual, but we will also indicate how much the departments are intending to spend in the last 3 months of the financial year. Therefore, at any given point, you are always going to find a situation where the report provides clarity in terms of actual, but it also gives you an indication in terms of the projected. But I'm talking about factual information based on our report, which report is used not only by the province, but also nationally, and it's drawn from our bus system. And the report indicates that as at end of March 2022, preliminary and provisional, we have spent 47.2 billion. Therefore, it is not possible mathematically that of the 48 billion, you can come to a conclusion that 17 billion would obviously be sent back to national treasury.
And has the head of the Northwest Treasury, what is any action or rebuttals to the newspaper articles going to be? Are you planning to take any action? Are you in discussion with those publications?
I must be honest, we have not we have not necessarily discussed the matter of the publication. However, working with Office of the Premier, there is a consideration that we should engage the newspaper and so that at least information that is reliable that is based on facts should be the one that is communicated to the general public. And we appreciate the role that is played by the media in informing our public. But I think what is important is that as we do that, we need to do that with information that has been verified, and information, particularly when we deal with issues that relates to the allocations, the spending, and the numbers that relates to that.
What's your budget looking like for this year? What's the focus going to be, Mr. Kunene, before I say goodbye to you? There is money, according to what you're saying, you are spending the budget you are getting. So what's the money looking like this year? How's the bank account?
Yeah, no, key two things, I think, which without necessarily going into the general detail. As per the SOPA pronouncement supported by the budget speech that has been presented by MEC Khosho, is that the Premier has indicated, in line with the SOPA injunctions, that the focus will be on two things. One is on accelerated service delivery program in all areas. Secondly is that as we do that, we need to ensure that we create the necessary jobs through initiatives and create a conducive environment where private sector also can create jobs in support of our challenges or in addressing our socio-economic challenges.
Mr. Kunene, I appreciate your time for coming on and giving us your side of this particular story. It's head of the Northwest Treasury, Ndlela Kunene, going and saying that it is misleading, the reports that the province is going to give back 17 billion rand to the National Treasury. In terms of course, because people reading that headline yesterday, I'm seeing on social media, I always say that social media isn't the country. It's just a good way of gauging what some people are saying. 17 billion rand, give it back to Treasury, that's good, lower the fuel price. That's actually not how it works. If they would have had to, and according to Mr. Kunene, they're not going to, give back 17 billion of unspent money. They're going to lose that money in the next budget. And that also you ask the question, what was that money not spent on?
Absolutely.
But Mr. Kunene is saying, no, completely incorrect on the Sunday papers. They have, he said, factually spent all that money. Of course, we're going to unpack that, dig a bit deeper.
Right.
But we had to just get the Northwest Treasury on with us just to get their side of the story.